Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the operational report of the Ukrainian offensive. I can't believe I'm saying this because I think the Ukrainian forces got triggered by me saying that the Russians are tired of waiting, whereas I was doing the operational report of the Russian offensive, and it was true. No, the Russians was sick of it, and they did their own offensive, but the Ukrainians got triggered and they launched their offensive, and that's definitely not true. They did not get triggered by me. Definitely they have a plan. I'm not important at all. So the Ukrainian forces launched major offensive across multiple directions, and this is come in the at a wake of Ukrainians doing all these unreal raids towards the Shibikino region and Novotavozanka, which did not work out. However, it does plays into how the entire offensive is currently moving. The fighting into the Belgorod region, or attempted invasion in the Belgorod region, actually does puts Russian citizens probably a bit concerned. And then with this concerned feeling comes the major offensive from the Ukrainians, and the biggest offensive region is in the so-called weakest spot in the Russian lines, which is in the Velika Novosibirsk sector. This has been mentioned by multiple analysts that this area have the least defensive infrastructures, the least trenches. And I believe I might have also mentioned this place before, but the Ukrainians can just go from anywhere, but this is the place that they chose. At the Velika Novosibirsk region, the Ukrainian forces launched a major attack, including trying to capture Nekoshny over here and across the entire front line down to Rivnopil, and fighting was actually within Novodarivka for a moment. There was attack towards Levatne and another quick raid, which is similar to what the Ukrainians did during the Kherson offensive towards Pryone. And however, this attack was not entirely successful. They managed to push back the Russians a little while. Then after that, the Russians actually counterattacked, which then pushed the Ukrainian forces back to where they started. And this must be very disappointing for the Ukrainian supporters and probably the Ukrainian command, because this is supposed to be the weakest line of defense on the Russian side, and they did not manage to successfully in that one-day major assault push the Russians back. So this is quite concerning. And the most interesting thing is that the Gerasimov, the commander of the entire Russian force, is actually in this area here, in one of the front positions. So it might be relating to him being there, that the Ukrainians maybe they realize he's there somewhere in this region, that they actually launched the offensive to see whether they can capture him or to make him look super bad. And however, this did not work out. The Russians managed to retake the line and secure back the same line of front line. However, this is not just the only place the Ukrainians launched an offensive. In the offensive operation also happens at the Voleda region, with the Ukrainian forces attacking Pelivka and Mikhailske. And on top of that, they also launched an attack. So let me zoom out a bit. Probably it will be. So this Donetsk front, it is the Velika Novosibirsk region. So I can draw the arrows. You can probably see clearer. And there is attack at Pelivka, at Mikhailske. There was attack at Novomikhailivka, towards the south of Marinka from Konstantinivka. And on top of that, there is gathering of Ukrainian forces over at Maksimivka, Ukrainka, at Vodian and Voleda. There's a force at Novomikhailivka. There's a force at Korakhove, which can potentially go to reinforce the defenders at Marinka. And there's another major force at Koma and Orakne, which is likely to be able to reinforce the Ukrainian forces to try to attack again over at the Velika Novosibirsk sector. And with this attack, and it did not break the line, is terrible, because This now alerts the hornet's nest, and the Russian forces is likely to start to send reinforcement into this region here, especially if their commander is there. So, and the likelihood is that this commander is not going to fly out of this place, because this airspace is going to be contested. Air defense is going to be active. Flying on a helicopter is extremely dangerous. So I'm expecting the commander to travel from the roads and at least to somewhere safer from air defense. So with this gathering of forces, I'm expecting Ukrainians to actually launch an attack towards Novodonetsk and Novomyaylsk, and with this attack here, they can capture Otyabrsky, and they actually can cross the road at Mariupol and actually meets with another attempt from Levadne direction to close this encirclement. And this entire Russian force that is actually in this region can be operationally encircled or effectively encircled with this action, and it will actually break one massive hole in the Russian defenses, which allows the Ukrainians to actually launch even a major attack towards the direction of Mariupol if they choose to. For those that are in Voleda region, the capturing of Palivka and Mykolaiv and probably Volodymyrivka and then Yehorivka, Shevchenko will create a massive security around the major and important strategic city of Voleda, or town of Voleda. And this will then again allows the Ukrainians to do a very good a push towards Mariupol. So if you zoom out even further, you can see this is where is Mariupol, and I'm talking about this push here, and there's this push south, and then they close up in this area here. Then this entire road here, let me use another color. This entire road here to Mariupol will be opened, and if the Ukrainians also successfully able to create a security zone around Voleda, this will allow them to go for Volnovakha, and Volnovakha is one of those very fiercely fought city in the earlier part of the war when the Russians were on the offensive. Volnovakha is one of the very heavily fought cities. The Russians were very proud about capturing it because it is very strategic. With the Ukrainians capturing it, again, the Ukrainians will be able to go down all the way to Mariupol and cutting off the land bridge and causing one hell of a problem. Because if you look at the major roads, there is not a lot of major roads that crisscross. So this road down can effectively provide the Ukrainians some kind of a very good defensive position with the Russians. If they want to cut through the center, they have to go through a lot of farmlands, which is going to be very challenging. So the fighting is most likely to be going along the main roads, and yeah, it will be fascinating to see the Ukrainians reaching Mariupol. That would blow literally everyone's mind. So that's all from this area here. Within the Avdiivka front, it's also very interesting. The Russians were on the offensive in this area here, and the Ukrainians actually on the same day of this start of this offensive launched assault operations against Vodian and Opitne. So it did not work out much, but it is also coordinated together with the rest of the offensive. So this is part of the offensive, and other parts we also see offensive operations over this was earlier over at the Toske Dibrova region, with the Ukrainians attacking just outside of the Serebranski forestry. So this is probably unrelated because this happens a day before, and then the Ukrainians were attacking, doing some probing over at Andriivka, at Novosibirsk, Berestove. So these are the probing attacks as usual over at this front in the Sviatove, and within the Kupiansk front region, the Ukrainians were attacking or probing Sinkivka and Timkovka region. So the offensive definitely doesn't seem to be in this area right now, because it's just still the probing attacks, and the Russians are making very significant progress over at the Kupiansk front, particularly in the Masyivka region, as well as a crossing over at Novolinsk, and they have a crossing over at Masyivka. So the Russian forces could potentially, you know, encircle Vorishna, and this will present a strategic dilemma for the Ukrainians, because if they don't defend against this, the Russians can capture Vorishna and actually break through into the rest of Kharkiv front, and this will just divert military resources away from the front lines where they are conducting the offensive. So this is not good. The Ukrainians also will likely continue all these cross-border raids somewhere somehow, but it does look like it's not going to do much, because the Russian forces over the border region here is pretty strong, and the Ukrainians are unlikely to do much unless they're going to do a major offensive force to invade into the Russian territory, which NATO will not be happy with it. So anyway, this is the operational report of the Ukrainian offensive, and do press the like button if you are part of the DPA army, and for those that are new to this channel, do consider subscribing. And for those that have watched many videos of DPA and have not subscribed, you must subscribe, because when you don't subscribe, you are depriving other non-subscribed viewers, especially new viewers, from discovering DPA or watching DPA, because that's just how the algorithm works. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next update.